Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome to the Casual Podcast. It's your boy Brian, the Casual Brian, with another Casual Podcast. Casual Podcast is brought to you by the Casual Brand. Casual Brand, from clothing to pages, we have everything you need to stay casual and casually connected to one another. What a weekend! What a weekend! What a weekend! If you do not watch sports, then I do not know what to say to you. But if you do, if you are like me, and when I say sports, I mean everything. I mean NFL, NBA, uh, MMA, jiu-jitsu, everything. It went down. It went down, people. But before we get right into it, let me just invite everybody. If you're not already subscribed, if you're not already following, please be sure to follow us. We come to you live Monday through Friday every morning. And then there's a podcast. If you're listening on the podcast today, thank you so much. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and also on Spotify, and I believe on Apple. You can find the podcast on Apple, where you can find podcasts. Apple Podcasts. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called Apple Podcasts. But we're everywhere. So please be sure to follow. Please be sure to subscribe. And if you really, really dig it, share it with the friends. I'm super excited. I got some guests coming on this week. I don't know if I'm trying to figure out what the best way to do it is. I think what I might do is pre-record the guest and then release them at a later time. I don't know. I'm still thinking through it, because I definitely want to keep the podcast for now right at 20 minutes. So we're gonna see. But I am excited. I have two guests already confirmed, and I've already recorded one. So super excited. Also, this is the first day that you can actually see the podcast on Instagram. I'll be releasing this later today on Instagram. So be sure if to check it out. All right, let's get this. Let's change these windows up, and let's just get right into it. So the crazy, I don't know. I don't know what I can say was the craziest thing. I had a really fun weekend. Um, I started on Friday. My cousin was in town for a wedding, and it's always a good time when I get to see him. But we went out to Jersey to spend some time with my sister. And I think what do we do? We just had a pretty pretty chill evening. I think my cousin got in on Thursday. Yeah, he got in on Thursday. Went over to Jersey, spent the day in Jersey, which was great. And then Saturday we came back for the craziness. I miss the flow grappling live. I've since seen some of the matches, and it's kind of interesting. It seems like Craig is losing a lot. I don't know if the matches he's doing don't favor his style, but it just seems like he's losing a lot. And that's very interesting because he is an insanely good grappler. But the thing about it is people catch up, people figure things out. You got to continuously be improving. Not saying he's not, because I mean, he seems like he's still improving, but I just know I want, if you're watching this and you know who Craig Jones is, tell me if you feel the same way. Do you feel like it seems like Craig has been losing a lot recently, or is it just like, I know he had the injured hand. He might be battling through some injuries, and it might also just be a format situation. He might be competing in places that don't. I know for sure. I saw one thing that he competed in where it was like he was not allowed to do any leg attacks. So that's a big part of his game. So taking leg attacks from away from Craig Jones is like taking 3 pointers away from Steph Curry. It's you beat him, yeah, but it's like you didn't really beat him. So I don't know. I've watched some of the matches. I want to watch more. I'm going to watch more. It seemed like a good event. It's just like I never know the timing. I feel like flow grappling, all as much as I love it, they don't do a great job of explaining the timing. I always feel like I'm waiting to see when it's going to be, and then I start seeing clips come up on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I guess it's happening now. So anyway, I missed that, but starting Saturday, these playoff games, the NFL playoffs have been fire, fire. My God, the NFL playoffs have been fire. I don't think there was a single bad game, not a single bad game, and I think the majority of the games, if not all of them, were decided by one score. So the craziest game, I I think I didn't see the whole Green Bay. I kind of followed from afar, Green Bay and the 49ers, but it sounded like a crazy ending. But I don't think any ending can be as crazy as Bills Chiefs. I mean, your heart has to absolutely be crushed for any Bills fan. I mean, what more could they do? And the ironic thing is they had one of the best defenses in the league. You just need one stop. One stop. But that's the problem. They went way too conservative. There's no excuse. 13 seconds, no. There's no excuse. Um, two great quarterbacks. I mean, that's what I'm going to leave that game with. You know, games like that just suck because it's like they're you want there to be two winners. I mean, they just played their butts off. But you really can't say they played their butts off because there was just no defense. It was funny. It was like the complete opposite of 49ers Green Bay, where you saw two good defenses play and kind of keep the offenses at bay. And let me say this with all due respect to my friend Carlos and my friend John, my heart breaks for him. I'm happy to see Rodgers go out. You know, I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of him anymore. He's a jerk. He's a jerk, man. He's great. He played great, and I feel like, and the thing about it is, I feel like him playing really well was becoming an excuse or excusing his bad behavior. You know what I mean? It's not about like did he get did he want to get vaccinated or did he not? There's tons of players in the NFL that didn't get vaccinated. I don't care. That's their choice. My thing is his approach, the way he acted about it. And then he lied. He straight up lied and everyone looked the other way, you know? Everyone looked the other way for the remainder of the season. So I'm happy to see Rodgers go. I was happy to see it. Heartbreaks for my friends, but bye Rodgers, bye Felicia. That's how I feel about Rodgers. But man, the games are just so crazy. I was like losing my mind for the end of Kansas City, Buffalo. I thought for sure it was over. I thought for sure it was over when Tyreek Hill scored the touchdown. I thought it was over. Not gonna drive down the field. He has like a minute and 42 seconds. Wrong. And then when Allen scores, I'm like, well, now it's definitely over because there's only 13 seconds left. Wrong again. I mean, just like you got one job, but you just knew. I knew when they got the ball, it was over because no, at that point, none of the defenses could stop any of the other defenses. It was just over. It was completely done. I didn't see any of the Cincinnati um, Tennessee game, but that outcome was not surprising. Now, what was surprising is the Bucks and Rams. Now, even though it came out to be close, the Bucks were getting st- stomped for a good part of that game. But you got to give it to Brady, man. You got to give it to Brady. Brady is clearly and hands down the GOAT. His team was hobbled, bro. That that team was struggling, and they still made it a game. It just shows the importance of like the team because Allen couldn't play any better than what he played, but his defense just could not get a stop for him. So it doesn't matter. That offense could not have played any better. You know, they did their job. They did everything that they asked that they needed, and it wasn't enough. Green Bay, they did enough to win, and they just made one special team mistake. It's just that's the great thing about football. It's a team sport. Basketball is somewhat a team sport, but one player really shifts the dynamic of a team. You know what I mean? You take Steph Curry off the Warriors, and that's not a good team anymore. Michael Jordan off the Bulls, it goes from being a great team to a good team. Even the players that are really good, like Scottie Pippen, for example. And I think this goes both ways. Scottie Pippen is not nearly the player that he was if he doesn't have Michael Jordan. But at the same time, Michael Jordan wouldn't be the player he was without Scottie Pippen. It goes both ways. So anyway, football was great. I'm so here, and you know I'm happy because the first week of playoffs I was kind of it was kind of a letdown because fantasy had just ended, so I didn't really care, you know. And I was like, I don't care. I'll just wake me up when the Super Bowl's here. But not anymore, man. Whoo! I'm gonna be watching every snap next week. Oh my gosh, so good, so good. Oh, isn't it just the best thing in life when sports are on point? The worst time of year for me is right after basketball season ends. And it's just like, oh, how much longer before August? So another thing I watched, the reason why I didn't watch the majority of Green Bay and the 49ers was I was watching MMA. I was watching UFC this weekend. I went over to my cousin's house, mi primos, mopris apparently, and we were watching the fight, which were pretty good card. Disappointed to see Rodolfo had to pull out. That's my boy Julian's fighter down at Fusion XL. Um, Always exciting to see Rodolfo fight because he's one of the few. I mean, obviously Jacare and Henzo did it, but a modern jujitsu guy coming over and really dominating, except for that freak loss, which who knows what that was about. Who knows what that was about? That guy, 9 times out of 10, gets choked out by Rodolfo. I mean, he was blasted within 15 seconds on the ground, fully mounted. I don't know. Sometimes, that's something that I'm looking forward to cleaning up in my game is like I'm leaving submissions and I don't know exactly what adjustments I need to make. But I'm not finishing my arm triangles like I used to. I used to really finish them and now I'm not. And so I got to figure out what I got to do. But yeah, good card. Um my my favorite part of the card. Well, okay. I really enjoyed watching Ngannou, but I want to leave him for last because I want to talk about his contract and boxing and all that stuff. Um, I thought I thought Moreno won the fight. I had it 3-2, but I think that I they won't say this, but I think as the rounds go further, they get more weight. So like if you dominate, let's say the first 2 rounds, and then the second the third round is like yours, but slightly. But then the other person dominates you for the last 2 rounds. I think they'll give it to the other person. That's just my opinion. Watching fights because I don't see how sometimes people get to the thing. I felt the same way with like Thug Rose and Wei Lee. I thought Wei Lee clearly dominated the first 2 rounds and won the third round, but then lost clearly in the last 2 rounds. Arguably, you could say the fifth round. I think she got like a couple of takedowns. It's tough, man. It's tough. I would in no way consider that to be a robbery or a bad decision. I just had it going the other way. Um, I'm glad that they're talking about running it back because I don't think anyone else should fight. I don't want to see anyone else fight. I want to see these two guys fight. Now, I'm nervous about something. This was their worst fight, and it was their worst fight because they were both worried about the money. I saw some reservation in both of them that wasn't there clearly in the first round, first fight or the second fight. And I get it. First fight they had nothing. They both had nothing. I mean, I guess Figueroa he was the champ, so he had the money, he had the bag. But second one, the fear should have come in there, and I think it came in for one, but not the other. Now it was there for both of them because both of them had been the champ, and now they were coming in as a champ, and it's a big difference when you get to that level. The money, the difference of being a champ and not being a champ, or winning and not winning, is huge. And it's not just them; it's their whole families. That's the thing you got to remember, and that's why the UFC exploits these fighters because these fighters have nothing, and so you're giving them a chance to put money, put food on the table of like their whole family, not just their wives and their children, their mothers, their fathers, their cousins, they're all coming up. And so they don't have leverage really. Dana has all the leverage. And that's why the UFC is kind of tough right now. I love the UFC. I love the fighters. I want the fighters to have better. And I just know that Dana's not going to do the right thing because why? Why would he? Dana is a businessman. But I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen in the next 10 years. They're gonna figure it out. They always do. People always figure it out, and they're not gonna just stand by and be exploited. It's just if you think that that's gonna happen, you're a fool and you do not know history. You do not study history, and you're gonna get caught off guard. People find a way. Company companies will band together. Scandals will happen. Something. It just doesn't stay. I just wish Dana would do the right thing. I think, and this isn't, and I'm not saying completely change the structure, but I think that there's more money on the table for the fighters. Like even those fight bonuses. What are those? 50,000? I mean, like that just shows you how little they get paid. That their bonus is 50,000. How is the bonus not six figures? How is the fight of the night not worth six figures? You know what I'm saying? How's the knockout of the night not worth 60? I thought that they were talking about going up to 75 for a while, which I'm like, hey, that's progress. It's better than 50. And you might be like, well, whatever. Dude, 25 extra $1,000 goes a long way, especially when you have people to pay. And they all have people to pay. They have coaches, they have nutrition people, they have taxes. That's another thing. Oh, these fighters get slaughtered in taxes. Shoot, they almost end up owing money from the fight. So I am a big fan of, again, the UFC, their fighters. I just think that they could be paid more. So, Ngannou, loved, loved, loved that he won with grappling. I think I mean, if it wasn't him, you would be like, that's a smart game plan. You do not want to stand and strike with Cyril God. But you just don't expect Ngannou to be, good at grappling. Now let's be brutally honest. He wasn't great. I mean, he was good. You know what I mean? He definitely shocked me with the way that he could move, but he left a lot of stuff on the table. He was fixated on the Kimura, so he like missed a bunch of headlocks. He didn't know how to fully keep him on the ground. There were some simple things that he could have done that would have allowed him to really just like dominate. He didn't seem to go for mount. I don't think he understood how to pass to mount or to get to a good dominant side control. He didn't do any good ground and pound, which I think that, someone his size, if he understood grappling really. I mean, he understands grappling. But there was a lot to be desired. That being said, I'm always here. I'm always here for seeing the big guys do the jujitsu. I would never want that guy to ever. Oh my God, can you imagine if he had you in a Kimura, but like you couldn't defend? I would scream. I would just scream, please don't rip my arm off. Because he could. He could literally rip your arm off. So so I think I found it funny because there was a controversy and he's talking about boxing and leaving the UFC, which I think he should. I think he should. If it's all business. If Dana doesn't think he's worth the money, okay. Well, someone else will pay him. And they'll pay him real money. Because these fighters, they don't have years and years and years. That kind of life ain't here anymore. These fighters are too good. They're going to catch up. You got a couple years. And if you're not going to maximize, your time, it's a waste. It's like running backs in the NFL. You got to maximize. I am for running backs getting the biggest, fattest contracts once they get one. So like, was it Jason Taylor for Indianapolis, the running back? He needs a fat contract. Swift, Fournette, give these guys a fat contract because they normally only get one. They only get one big deal. So I hope he goes. I hope he leaves. Because the UFC doesn't appreciate him. He's worth more. They could pay him more, and it's not even a crazy amount that they have to pay him. It's just more, and that's the right thing to do. But anyway, I'm just happy that sports are back. Sports are kicking butt. Had a great weekend. Looking forward to this week and looking forward to guessing again. Like I've said, if you are interested on being on the podcast, shoot me a message and we'll figure it out. I record in the morning, so we got to figure that out. But we can always record and then release it later. So until tomorrow, thank you so much for stopping by. For those who listen on the podcast, thank you so much. Everyone listening on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, thank you so much. Have a great day, and be sure to check out the Casual Brand pages. We got new designs, new hoodies. We're going to be putting out hoodies and long sleeves all week. Hopefully, we can get a promo code up. But if not, you can still check it out. They'll be on my Facebook page, and I think I'll drop them on Twitter, and they'll definitely be on Instagram every single day in the stories, and so on and so forth. So until tomorrow, stay casual. Peace.